Brought to you by Alman Auctions, the worldwide leader in antique tractor auctions.
Park a green machine like this one and someone's likely to come sniffing around. Now hold on, that's no way to treat a beautiful classic tractor. Well, maybe old Pete thought he was marking his territory, but this sharp-looking 1964 Oliver 770 really belongs to Jim Dick of Marion, South Dakota, a full-time farmer and big-time tractor collector.
This is my collection of restored tractors in this shed over here. After I get done working on them, I bring them back into this shed, and it's getting full now, so maybe it's time to quit. There's a bunch of different Olivers in here. I've got an International and a Case and an Alice Chalmers. I mostly collect Olivers, and this is where they're at.
Years ago, Jim's dad helped paint the first two tractors in his collection, and now with about 40 tractors altogether, he's collected and restored an Oliver 77, an 88, a Super 44, and much more.
I'm particularly fond of these two tractors. My uncle and I own them together. They're both Graham Bradleys, built by Graham Page back in the late 30s. This is the oldest tractor I have in my collection. It's an 1827 Oliver Hart-Parr, built in 1935. The tractor was bought in Iowa, and it was pretty tough shape when we got it. My wife's not real pleased with the whole thing. She kind of believes I'm spending all the money that she makes on old tractors, and, but she tolerates it. She's a real good sport about it. I keep telling her that I could easily spend this much money in a casino or in the bar and wouldn't have anything to show for it. And that excuse used to work for a while. It's starting to wear thin now.
Jim grew up driving Olivers, so building his collection with meadow green beauties like this 770 was only natural. Even though Jim's still very much in the farming game, he says this 770 won't be called on to do any hard labor.
No, I think this tractor's seen about as much work as it's going to see in its day. It's basically going to be a parade tractor as long as I own it, and kind of give it its retirement. I like the looks of this later style Oliver because of the grill and the flat top fenders. They're probably a little more rare, not as many of them around, and so that's why I like the looks of this one.
A handy, mid-sized tractor just right for baling hay, the 770 is powered by a 6-cylinder gasoline engine and has 6 forward gears. You can make it crawl along at just over 2 miles an hour or move it out at a little over 10 miles an hour on the road.
Yeah, it's a fun tractor to drive. It's just like driving a new one. Everything is tight on it. The steering is like new. When you shift gears, you can feel the tightness in the transmission that's not been worn out and it's not been used a lot. So it's a real pleasure to drive. Yeah, the nice thing about the 770 was that it had the big wheels in the back. Earlier, some of the other tractors had used 24 to 26-inch tires, 28-inch tires, and so you'd feel all the bumps as you went through holes and stuff. Oliver was always big into the 38-inch rims, using the big wheels in the back, which really smoothed out the ride, gave a good ride.
Oliver first built the 770 in the late 1950s, so a 1964 is late in the model run. Earlier versions had a front grille with only crossbars, but later Oliver styled the 770s with the checkerboard front grille like this one. There are other little things that set it apart too.
One unique thing about the fenders on the 770s, they don't have white in the inserts where the lights go. They're green, they're dark. Later on, the 1650s came out and they painted this area white just to give it a little bit more of an offset.
Jim's Oliver 770 was a real find. A one-owner machine, it had just over 900 hours on it, and other than some sheet metal work, a new tack, and a paint job, the tractor was solid all the way through. Jim does all the restoration work himself with a little help now and then from his 2 sons.
Dad, your paint's kind of smudged here.
Yeah, you would see that too, wouldn't you? My boys are my biggest critic, probably. They like to come in the shop after my paint jobs, and I'll check them over and look at the runs and point out all the spots that I missed. And so sometimes it's good to have critics, and sometimes you just want to take them and beat them over the head. It's a good way to keep the boys involved in the farming heritage and in the operation. It's a good thing to do together as a family, too. We enjoy working together on them and taking them to parades and shows and that sort of thing.
Fathers and sons, and the bond formed over a beautiful piece of American farming's past. It just doesn't get any better than that.